Hey guys, how are you today? So it's Tuesday. I think this maybe is starting. Here we go, now it is. Okay. Hi guys, it's Tuesday, so I'm going live again to talk about how to improve your content, get past blocks, and write more effectively. Today I want to talk about the lie of perfection. This is fresh on my mind because this is something I have been struggling with personally, not just with my content, with other stuff as well, but I also see it come up in other areas. So I wanted to go over 3 points with you about why you don't need to be perfect, and honestly, why imperfection is probably even better, especially on social media. So the 3 points I want to get more in with you. I'm all organized in my notes today. I'm so excited. One, social media is the perfect place for imperfect content, so you don't have to write something perfect. Number two, ask yourself the question, aside from yourself, how much do you expect perfection from other people around you? So keep that in mind. And three, imperfection shows authenticity, which is powerfully endearing to your business, to your persona, all of those things. So we're going to jump into those things one by one. So first thing that I want to cover for you guys is that social media is the perfect place for imperfect content. So once again, perfection is a lie. Perfection doesn't exist. So it's silly to wait to post until you have perfect content. You're waiting for something that will never happen. It doesn't happen for me. It doesn't happen for anyone else. The important thing is to be consistent, is to show up and to show up imperfectly. Social media is a wonderful place for that, especially Facebook. I mean, think about it. It's social media. When you're talking with your friends in a social setting, are you spooling out elegant prose in your most perfect college essay format, or are you just talking? You're just being social, so you're speaking like a social person. Formal prose, perfect grammar is not expected, even for businesses. People like having a human to connect with, and humans are not perfect. So it's okay. People won't unfollow you or badmouth you for a few grammar errors. They really won't. And if they do, the few that do, they're turds. You don't want to work with them anyways. So don't worry about the grammar issues. It doesn't matter. The most likely bad scenario is that you'll post something and you may just not get results. It may not have hit the right tone or whatever. But that's probably the worst that will happen. I know there's a lot of anxiety for some people about posting things that aren't written quite right, but most likely, most people won't read it so don't let that stop you. People aren't going to throw tomatoes at you for misspelling there or using the wrong there. Like you put THEIR instead of THEYRE with an apostrophe, whatever. You get what I'm saying. So, and here's another reason why you need to let go of perfection when it comes to social media. The way to win on social media is to be consistent, is to keep showing up. So think about it. When it comes to doing something every single day, perfection just isn't an option. So you have to let go of perfection and embrace the idea of showing up regularly. It is better to show up every day than to wait until you have the perfect content. The best example I can think about this is think of relationships. When you first start dating someone, you get to be the perfect version of yourself. When you get to see them once a week, every once in a while. It's you put on your makeup, you do your hair, you wear your nice outfit, you're very calm and put together and sophisticated. But as you get into more of a long-term relationship, you get married, it changes. You aren't that perfect version of yourself anymore. You are real. You are yourself. Once again, social media is social. It's about building relationships. So think about it in that way. It's just I am not perfect every day in my relationship. I'm not. But Ido and I, we show up for each other every day. And that's when we're cranky. That's when we're sick. That's when we're whatever. We are consistently showing up for each other. So I say it over and over again, but when it comes to your clients, when it comes to your marketing content, it is relationship centric. So think about it in that way. Relationships aren't based on one perfect date a week or 2 perfect dates a month. You need to think about how you show up consistently for someone. So just show up consistently. Once again, you have to let go of perfectionism. If you're trying to write the perfect post every day, that's such a stressful thought, right? And also just think how many posts that is. If it makes you feel better, remember social media, the reason why consistency is so important is that your posts disappear from people's news feeds so fast. And so you have to keep showing up on their timeline. You have to keep putting your face out there, your voice out there, your mind out there. It's not about being perfect. It's about staying in their news feed. It's about building that relationship and consistency with them. So once again, social media is the perfect place to put imperfect content. So I hope you agree with me on that. Second thing, this is a question I have to ask myself a lot, and it's something I've dealt with a lot recently with my Hebrew. So aside from expecting it from yourself, how much do you expect perfection from others? So this is something I deal with a lot. So once again, Hebrew's been a big thing for me lately, trying to get better at it, become more fluent, talk to more people. And I have a really hard time with how bad my Hebrew is. And it just shuts me down. And because, Nicole, the consistency is so important. It really is. But anyway, so with Hebrew, all I can hear is my imperfection. All I can see are my grammar errors. All I can see is how I compare to someone else. But when it comes to Hebrew, I'm the only one who's obsessed with me speaking it perfectly. It's really true. When I talk to not just my boyfriend, but our friends, his family, which is my family too, even people that I've started to work with, people who don't know me, they love that I try. If I try and speak Hebrew, it's enough. The only one who cares that I don't speak perfect Hebrew is me. No one else is expecting me to speak perfect Hebrew after living here for less than a year and starting a new language at 32, now 33, whatever. Don't get so focused on feeling like you have to be perfect, but take yourself out of that and remember, do I expect perfection from others? And I really don't. I wish I was kinder to myself. You know how they encourage you to go through that exercise of, what would a friend say to you? Because I can be really mean to myself when it comes to my expectations of myself or not doing what I feel like I should be doing. But I have an example for you. There's this brilliant life and business coach that I follow. Her name is Rebecca. English isn't her first language. And so sometimes when she writes her content, which is full of wisdom and so smart, she has these fantastic visuals, one time with underwear, which I loved. Sometimes grammatical errors show up in her written content. Guess what? I don't care. I'm not following her to get a perfectly edited grammatical essay. I don't care that a life coach gives me, perfectly written content. That's not what she's there for. That's not what she's teaching me. That's not the wisdom I'm going to her for. And unless you're someone like me, and even someone like me, for these posts, I'm not exactly polished either and make mistakes too. But with someone like her, or if you're a bookkeeper and accountant like most of my clients are, people aren't reading your posts expecting you to be grammatically perfect. Again, social media, it's different. It's social. There's more of a relaxed attitude towards the content you have there, honestly. And also, they aren't reading your posts to get a perfectly edited version. They want to read your posts so they know who you are, so they know what you know. They want to know your work. They want you to help them. And as long as you're able to communicate something helpful to them, they won't care about it being the perfect post. If you are able to help them, if you're able to give them advice that they understand, fantastic. You win. That's all that matters. The perfect post doesn't exist, but you can still be helpful while you're imperfect. And that was one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in my business recently, and something I'm still trying to internalize when it comes to Hebrew. Perfection is not a requirement for growth or success, and that is included in your content. So so the point I'm trying to make, and this has been important for me to understand, success, it's sorry, that's wind up here. It's not binary. It's not like A is failure, B is success, with nothing in between. There's a scale. There really is a scale. And even if you feel, and it's just you're probably pretty close to the success end of things, and there is so much you can achieve imperfectly. I have helped so many clients. I have been able to make, a difference in my life with the income I'm making from my clients, I'm sure that as I keep improving and keep getting better, it will keep getting better. I'm sure I'm making tons of mistakes, but even though I'm making mistakes, it doesn't inhibit me from being helpful. It doesn't stop me from doing good work that deserves to be paid. Once again, there's a scale. It's not binary like success and failure. And that's something I have to remember with my Hebrew too. It's just like, I am way... being able to speak Hebrew fluently is like this dot, like the top of this building back here. That's how far away me speaking Hebrew fluently is. But that doesn't mean that I can't get better at it here. It doesn't mean that I'm not moving in the scale from zero Hebrew up to fluent Hebrew, and that I can do a whole lot of talking and improving in that space. It's a scale. It's not binary. So remember that. Just once again, if you're anything like me, I'm the only one expecting me to be perfect. And when I look at other people around me, other professionals I work with, people I'm in relationships with, I never expect them to be perfect. I really don't. I just expect them to be authentic, own up for it, correct it, we move on. It's fine. So don't put that pressure on yourself. I know it's easier said than done because I do it all the time, even though I'm talking to you about this. I'm an authority on the other side of this equation, so for what it's worth. Anyways, point 3, imperfection shows authenticity, which is powerfully endearing. So this is a really popular term right now, being authentic. It sounds, I feel like it's a word that's almost on the verge of getting used up, or like, kind of like cliched almost. But being authentic really does make a difference. So there's one of the reasons for that. This came up in a in a mastermind group that I'm a part of. So here's a story where I'll illustrate it. So I'm in this mastermind group, and once a week we have a group Zoom call with the coach. In the middle of the call, her toddler son walks on screen and starts talking to her mom about how he pooped his pants. And we're all hearing all about it, and it was a funny moment. None of us cared. The coach didn't care. She laughed it off, moved on, kept helping us, and we didn't care either. And as a result of that moment, it was so funny to me, but I thought it was perfect. One of the other coaches, like in our group, she said, she actually loves that about our coach, Alyssa. She's just like, it makes me feel human. It makes her feel human. Like if you ever get like on a call with someone and they have like perfect makeup, perfect outfit, perfect Zoom background, they're just like all perfectly tailored, put together, it can be intimidating to some people and feel like, oh, you have results that are not achievable to me. It does show success, but it can also be an alienating factor. So it really is just something that you have to let go of, that belief that you need to have a perfect image in your writing or in your grammar. And something I love is just like, so keep this in mind when you're trying to think of like using a bunch of stiff or fancy words for like a perfect post. You're in your thesaurus and you're trying to use like the smartest sounding words. I'm guilty of this sometimes because words are fun, and mellifluous sounds much more entertaining than, sounds good, which is basically what it means. But keep this in mind. Research shows, multiple pieces of research show, that people who regularly swear are usually more honest and have higher levels of integrity. There's kind of a response to people like that. So for example, my coach Alyssa, she swears like a sailor. I love her for it. And she is. She's super direct. I trust her. She's down to earth. It's great. Her content is not super polished, but she is 100% there as herself. And she's completely authentic. And that is endearing to me. That makes me want to keep working with her. It's why I keep working with her almost a year later at this point. Because I see in her a real person. I see in her someone who I can relate to. Not someone who's beyond me, even though in the financial sense, of course she is, but she's someone I can feel like I can relate with and work with. Look at my notes and see how I can transition this best for you guys. Authenticity is just like, people want to know that you're human. People want to work with humans. We don't want someone who, because here's the secret, like we're all human, we're all flawed, we're all dealing with our self-doubts and our imperfections. We've all got sweatpants on under the table with our jackets on the Zoom call, just like as a, example. And there's something that, like, I know for me just gives this great big sigh of relief when someone is just like, oh yeah, like, I have these issues and I still showed up. I had these mistakes and I still was able to succeed. Or I had these anxieties in my business even though I'm successful. And I was like, oh, thank God, you're a human too. And people like that. And when you show your imperfection, when you show your authenticity, and you give them that relief, you're giving them permission to show up in that same way too, which is more comfortable, which makes them want to talk with you, makes them want to work with you. And apparently if you swear, it makes them trust you, but no, you gotta feel it. But you don't have to be perfectly polished. You can even be a little bit self-effacing. I don't know if you guys ever saw The Office. That's like my favorite show. There's a scene where Michael Scott is at a business meeting, and while at the business meeting, he steps in a koi pond. He actually falls in the koi pond. He's super embarrassed. He denies it, doesn't want to talk about it, and then Jim comes in his office and it's just like, here's what you do. Just make fun of yourself a little bit and it'll blow over, because everyone has embarrassing moments. And so Michael comes out of his office and he's just like, oh yeah, that was dumb of me to do. Oh my God. And then everyone in the office was just like, it happens to the best of us. I'll bet it happened if I was there. They should have railings there. And it became this endearing moment where they were able to, he wasn't pushed away for being open about, like making a dumb mistake, because everyone's made a dumb mistake. And honestly, when I share my frustrations and my raw moments on Facebook, I sometimes have the best engagement and have these relationship building moments as a result of it, because we all, it's this commonality, it's this common thread. So I said that. So yeah, don't get hung up on being perfect, because no one else is perfect, but we're all worried about having to be perfect. If you can be brave and show up and post on there, just keep putting your face out there saying, I struggled with this, I got past this. Oh, there's an ambulance coming down the street. That's good. They sound the same here in Israel, in case you're wondering. So when you have that openness, that humanness, it really touches into, you're someone that people want to connect with, someone that people feel like that you can still help them. They don't have to be perfect for you to help them make a difference in their business. So for example, so when you're able to show up authentically, other people are able to do so as well. You give them permission by what you do in your own life. So for example, I remember talking to my boyfriend Ido when I first met him about my watercolor paintings and how I'm pursuing them part-time, and I'm not doing it perfectly. But me talking about something I loved with a lot of passion, and the haphazard way I was trying to make it happen kind of sparked something in him. And my boyfriend, he's a world-class backgammon player. He's brilliant. And hi Jess. He's a world-class backgammon player. He's brilliant. And he'd been thinking about starting, doing lessons, but he was afraid of rejection. He was afraid of, the response from the school. Maybe they wouldn't take him. Maybe he wouldn't be good at it. But seeing that I was able to pursue things imperfectly, really just set this trigger off. He was able to see, okay, if she can go for it, if she can be out here doing this, then so can I. And after that, he within a month he reached out to this contact he knew, started teaching backgammon lessons. Thanks, Waid. And continues to teach them to this day, all the time. He's an in-demand teacher now, and does that on the side, and does really, really well. So you can give that to someone else. So think about that sometimes when you're posting imperfect content. You are leading by example. And as you open up, you will encourage others to open up as well and be more connected with you. A lot of my clients, or even just contacts, have turned into friends, where we have this human connection, and it really makes things better. So anyways, so the most important thing I want you to take away from this, if you've hung around for 19 minutes and 46 seconds, perfection is a lie. There are no perfect posts. There's no perfect strategy. Consistency is the most important thing. And in order to be consistent, you have to let go of perfection, because perfection doesn't exist anyways. It's kind of like a unicorn or a leprechaun. It doesn't exist. Let perfection go and just show up imperfectly. It is showing up imperfectly is actually very, very powerful, very, very connective. And honestly, waiting to be perfect is an excuse. It's an excuse that I've held on to for certain things as well. I don't want you holding on to perfection and hiding behind it be the excuse why you're not putting your business out there. You're not putting your brains out there. You're not putting your face and your voice out there. You will never be perfect, but you don't need to be perfect to make a big difference. Just like I don't need to speak Hebrew perfectly in order to be able to communicate pretty well what I want. And as I in that case, as I put myself out there, just as you put out your content, that's how you get better at it. I have to practice Hebrew real crappy in order to get better at it. And if you feel like you're not good at social media content, this is how you'll get better at it. By practicing it, by putting yourself out there, by showing up, by starting the conversation. So don't wait for perfection. That's just procrastination. I promise you have tons of useful information that people will find interesting. I promise that your most human moments, your frustrations, will connect you with people. And that if you're consistent and keep showing up and keep going to bat, it pays off. I've seen it in my business and in my life, and I want you to have that kind of result with your content and stuff too. So all I'm saying is, if you got a business, get to work. Go post something imperfectly. Go post something honestly. Yeah, I hope this helped you guys. If you guys want, I just posted in the description as well, I've started a specific Facebook group for bookkeepers. Bookkeepers usually have a hard time, feeling confident about what they write, or don't know what to come up with, or have a hard time with social media strategy. You guys are brilliant with numbers, but you feel uncomfortable with words. So I have a Facebook group that I'm starting up. I'll actually be doing another live specifically in that group tomorrow, where we'll be talking more specifically on how to help you with your content, and how to be strategic, how to move forward, how to have ideas of what to post about. I want to keep helping you. Anyways, I think that's it for now. But I will see you next Tuesday, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day. It's absolutely lovely here. And I will talk to you guys later. Take care, everybody. Bye. I miss you and love you too, Jess.